I try to answer people's questions with full attachment to that job, let's say, doing the best possible job, but detached from whether people understand it or like it or agree to it or anything like that. That is detached attachment. And so that goes for all our desires, for whatever we want to do and for whatever we want to achieve. When we do it, we are 100% involved. That's the best way anyhow to get a result. No? But the result itself we don't care. Play the game, but remember, it is a game, so it doesn't matter who wins or loses. We just play because we think it's a good idea to play, because it will bring us something that, we might like. But if it doesn't come, we accept. Of course, we have to learn from our actions and try to do better next time. In that way, we're always learning, and why would we not do that? So definitely we're going to look at the result, but we're not going to care for it. This is in our heart. Detached attachment actually is in the heart. It is in the heart that we are attached. It is in the heart that we are detached. And we do both at the same time. And this is a little hard to understand, but we can understand it by saying, okay, we are attached to what we do. We are not attached to any result. So, and that is here. That's a way of being. That's not so much like a practice, even though it can be a bit of a practice. But it is a way of being, and that way of being comes from being closely connected to the self, which means you are not fooled by the lila, you are not fooled by the game. You know it's a game, and you play it joyfully with full intent. Why would you do it otherwise? No. But you know it is a game. Let's say you do a very good thing for blind people, I don't know, who can really use it. And you do it without getting paid, you do it, like really as a karma yoga, as a selfless service. There especially, we also are advised not to care about any results, not even to care whether these blind people like it or not. I mean, you listen to them, of course. You want to do what they need. But essentially, if they don't like it or they want more or they are not satisfied, it's not your problem. For whatever we do, we should do it out of freedom, not because of entanglement. And of course, when we talk about detached attachment, then the word attachment has another aspect, you could say, which we then call addiction, which is precisely that kind of entanglement. So that is definitely to be avoided. Nothing that we do can be true if we do not do it freely. If we only do it because it is expected from us. This comes very much in love relationships, of course. Usually our beloved likes to get some attention, to get some flowers, to get some whatever, we can creatively come up with to show our love. But if we clearly do it because it is expected from us, maybe because it's Valentine or some other reason, then it has no value, right? It's totally empty. It's totally useless. You could just throw those flowers in the dustbin, it has no meaning at all. But many people believe that they have to be attached in what they are doing, and even, as you said, attached to the result of what they are doing in order to do a good job. Like in this case, I would be not only like trying to answer as best as I can, but I'm also very much like involved with what are you thinking about it, are you understanding it, are you liking it, are you agreeing with it or not. And of course this is part of teaching, this is part of talking, this is part of answering a question, but ultimately you don't care. You are free. Liberation, enlightenment is often called liberation, even though that is more what happens, while enlightenment is then what remains, but okay. But so liberation, we are in this game not to bind ourselves. We are in this game to become free. So whatever we do, we have to be free, and that also means free of any result of our actions. Otherwise, you can never be free. It's not an easy thing to think about precisely again because, well, yes, detachment and attachment, they are like opposites, and how to combine them. It's not a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's both together, felt in the heart. Full devotion, you could say, no expectation. Well, yes, it is natural in some games, let's say, like in work, that there is a kind of commitment from both sides. And so then the organization giving you the job has certain requirements and you have certain requirements. And that needs to match. And so that is something which you do in freedom. You may not be free of the consequences of your choices always, and in that way you can say, yes, but I'm not free, I have to take this job, I have no other choice, even though I don't like it, even though I think they expect too much of me or whatever. This is of course there, but still you are free to make that commitment or not, and okay, once you make it, you try to honor it. Same thing again in a commitment which is more romantic. Also, the moment you make that commitment, and you maybe also then talk about what it really means, what are the rules of the relationship, what are the job divisions maybe in the relationship, so that there you are free to do that. And then once you are into it, you try to respect that. But that is still something which you have freely decided to do. So we should not see this necessarily as an entanglement. I mean, it's an entanglement, yes, but you are the one who made the knot, and you are the one also able to untie it. Part of the story of detached attachment, surrender to the divine. We do our best, but the result really is not up to us. That's just why, we stay detached from that. Because the result is up to the whole universe, I would say, including the divine, and including every power in the universe. So let's say you feel like a friend of yours is maybe making a wrong choice in life, which will really harm that person. And you tell them, you try to explain to them, but they don't want to listen. They have some reason why they want to do this. And they feel you are, not minding your own business or something. Then you have to say, okay, and surrender to the divine, knowing that anyhow, there's no such a thing as things going wrong. They only go wrong in order to again go right, The more you remove yourself from the self, and in that way from the truth and from love and from all these things, the more it will pull you back. Why? Because the more you remove yourself from all of that, the more unhappy you will become. And the more unhappy you will become, the more you will again try to connect. So in that way, whatever goes wrong, whatever wrong decision is being made by people, will ultimately lead also to the solution. Because if their decision is wrong, they will experience it. So it's like with a child also. Okay, the child also needs our protection. There are some things we cannot let them do because they are too young. But in some things, we are like, okay, you want to jump in the sea? It's really cold. But if you want to go, go. And then they go and then they come out. Oh, it's too cold. Okay. Next time they'll think differently maybe. And so this is true also there with everyone. When we are detached from the results of our actions, then how can we blame ourselves? Many people feel this is a problem. That's why they cannot do it. They feel if I'm not, angry with myself, if I make a mistake, then I'll make that mistake again and again. I don't agree. But many people think like that. But I don't agree because it is only in that lightness that comes with detached attachment that we are really able to do the best possible job. And then certainly also in music or anything creative. If there we are too much wondering what people will like from our music or whatever, how will the feedback be? How can we do it? We can only do it if we do not care about that. We just bring the best that we can. And if then we make a mistake, we totally forgive ourselves. Because if you look at tennis, I rather like doing that, so then you can see when is the player going to play at their very best. When they have nothing left to lose. Like their opponent already has made so many points that, okay, the chance that they're going to win is going to be very low. But then they bring out their best tennis and they still might win. But they should be detached from the result. If they are too much trying to force it, if they are too much, wanting it, then their concentration will not be stable enough. So for whatever we do, even to write an email or whatever, the main thing is to stay detached from the final result of that. Like when you write an email, you are thinking about it, of course. No? You are thinking, okay, I'm now saying this. Will this be fully understood? Will this not create any problem? Like you are thinking about the response you might get on that email or how that email will be received by people. You are involved with that. But while doing it in your heart, you are not caring about it. You are not worried about it. You are not, involved with it. You just do your best. And then the result you will see it. It anyhow does not only depend on what you do. This is the main thing. We let the car drive by itself, the car being our body-mind, let it do its job. But we are sitting in the back seat, and letting it happen. But the we who is sitting in the back seat, that is the self. Because the body-mind will still be, holding the steering wheel and all these things. But that is not you. So that's how you detach from this. Okay, so here we have to distinguish between meditation and life. Because in meditation, okay, whatever the mind comes up with, we ignore it. And we refocus, if needed, on the object of our meditation, whatever it is, a mantra, silence, whatever. In life, this is of course different because life means thinking, feeling, acting. So thinking is part of life. Then we can have there the big difference, I would say, between a person where the thought trains never stop, where they are very hectic, jumping from here to there, where they often run in circles, again and again, going through the same thought process, like in worrying or in anger. So that is there. And then the other way of living in more spiritual way is where self-awareness remains as much as we can, let it remain, while we are interacting with the world, which includes also thinking. If we can always keep some connection to the self, then the thought trains will really do their jobs, but not exceed those jobs. I fully advise to be as much attached to the bliss as you can, but be detached from that bliss being there. And especially there, always recognize that if it's not there, that is your own doing. And do not point at anyone else for that. And that is where this story actually mostly comes. When people, they are meditating a lot, they are really working on their inner peace, and then somebody else somehow or other, by making a sound or by starting some quarrel or whatever, is disturbing the peace, is disturbing the bliss. And then they feel, oh, you made me lose my bliss. And heart breathing there is one of the main ways in which to very rapidly again feel it a little bit more in our energy body, because the bliss feeling is very subtle. It's deep inside. It's very subtle. So the raw energy, we have to sort of, connect with it. And that we do by breathing practices, and especially, for example, by heart breathing, also by mental control, all these kinds of things. They are there to stay with the bliss. So I totally advise that 24 hours a day if you can. Why not? Why would you lose it? So we can be fully attached to our practice, but not to any result, because we are a work in progress. If we would not be a work in progress, why any work? Why any practice? But so since we work, since we practice, we cannot expect, to always be 100%. It's natural if sometimes some unhappiness, let's say, comes. Because this will then again cause us to review our attachments.